Have you ever looked at a tree and wondered if it knows what it's doing? We usually think of decision-making as something that happens in a brain. You weigh your options, consider the consequences, and make a choice. Humans do it. Animals do it. Maybe even your cat when she decides to knock something off a table. But plants, they're rooted in place. They don't move, they don't talk, and they definitely don't have brains. So how could a plant possibly make a decision? Well, what if I told you plants actually do, all the time? And not just in simple ways. They engage in behavior that is surprisingly complex, adaptive, strategic, and sometimes even social. It turns out the green world we take for granted may be far more intelligent than we ever imagined. Let's begin with something basic. What is a decision? In biology, it's not necessarily about thinking. A decision can be defined as choosing a course of action based on environmental inputs. In other words, you perceive something, process it, and respond. And while plants don't have neurons, they absolutely do this. Take plant roots. Underground, where we can't see, they are constantly exploring, searching for water, nutrients, and space. In one experiment, scientists placed plants in soil where nutrients were unevenly distributed. The roots didn't just grow randomly, they moved toward the richer areas. And more interestingly, when given two choices, say one side with more nitrogen and another with more water, plants didn't always pick the same one. They prioritized based on their internal state. If they were nutrient-starved, they chose nitrogen. If they were thirsty, they went for water. That's not automatic. That's a trade-off. That's a decision. But roots aren't the only part of the plant showing this kind of behavior. Let's talk about Mimosa pudica, the sensitive plant. Touch its leaves and they fold up instantly like a reflex. But when researchers dropped these plants from a short height repeatedly, the plant stopped closing their leaves. They had learned the drop wasn't harmful, and weeks later they still remembered. This is astonishing. A plant that can remember and change its behavior based on experience, without a brain. So how do they do it? How can plants process information with no neurons? Well, they actually use electrical signals. Yes, just like your brain. Plants generate electrical impulses that move through their tissues to send messages, especially in times of stress. When a caterpillar bites one leaf, that leaf can send out a warning signal that travels to other parts of the plant, which then ramp up their chemical defenses. And they don't stop there. Some plants release airborne chemical signals to warn other plants nearby. Those neighbors pick up the message and prepare their defenses too. This is communication. Not with words, but with chemistry and electricity. One of the most mind-blowing examples is the Venus flytrap. It doesn't close its trap the moment something touches it. It waits. Only if 2 touches occur within 20 seconds does it snap shut. That means the plant is counting, timing, and storing that input temporarily, an electrical short-term memory. It's only if the second signal confirms the first that the plant acts. That's a threshold-based response. That's a rule, that's logic. And again, it's happening in a living thing with no brain. But what about trees? Can they make decisions? Not only can they act independently, but many of them form vast underground networks through fungi, called mycorrhizal networks. Through these connections, trees can send nutrients, chemical signals, and even carbon to other trees. A mother tree might support her own offspring more than unrelated saplings. Trees under attack by pests can send chemical alerts to their neighbors. That's not just awareness, that's cooperation. It's even been shown that dying trees sometimes release their stored nutrients into the network, benefiting others around them. Why would they do that? Is it just instinct? Or is it something deeper? Not all plant behavior is cooperative, though. Some plants release toxins into the soil to stop others from growing near them. Others grow taller or adjust their leaf angles to compete for sunlight when they detect the presence of nearby plants. They don't just grow blindly, they sense, they respond, and they outcompete rivals in strategic ways. So, the question, can plants make decisions? Yes. If we define decision-making as sensing the environment, evaluating options, and choosing a response, then plants absolutely qualify. They may not be conscious. They may not think in the way we do. But intelligence in a biological sense isn't limited to neurons. Plants solve problems. They adapt. They remember. They communicate. Maybe they act. We've been looking for intelligence only in forms that mirror ourselves. But evolution has no favorite. It builds different solutions in different ways. Brains are one way to solve the problem of survival. But plants found another path. Just as powerful, just as sophisticated, and hidden in plain sight. So the next time you pass by a tree or water your houseplant, remember, beneath those leaves and roots is a living system that senses, calculates, and decides. It may be silent, it may be slow, but it is far from passive. Thanks for watching. Hey, if this made you see plants in a whole new way, leave a like and subscribe for more science stories that reveal the unseen intelligence all around us. And let us know in the comments. What do you think? Can plants think in their own way? Maybe intelligence isn't just about thoughts. Maybe it's about life making sense of itself in every form it can.